Record. Okay. So this is 13-1 notes. We have any seniors in here? This one. So I'll talk to you after we get going. The thought is, this is the last chapter. If you look at this, this is our last chapter of the second unit. You know how we had part 1, part 2. Part 2 is going to be done at chapter 3, or the halfway mark of chapter 13. So this reinforcement, so your senior week, like that Monday and Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, that'll be considered your final. And if you do better, it'll improve your grade type thing. And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but that's kind of my thought process in it, is that you will probably not move on to chapter 14, 15 like the rest of them. I don't think you guys have done a hell of a job, but I don't think we're gonna be able to get to here unless we do some motoring that's unprecedented. We can get close. And it's a lot farther than I thought we'd get with the COVID stuff, but we'll just talk about it, okay? But yeah, let's go over 13-1 real quick. So now we're getting into some payroll taxes. This isn't the, you guys spent a whole chapter on getting payroll ready with the time cards and with the register. I gotta switch the screen, sorry. With the register and all that. And then getting the taxes and kind of getting, single married, the allowances, getting kind of used to Social Security, Medicare, all those things. Okay, well, now what we're going to do is we got to record these taxes and we got to pay them. All right. So payroll, different forms of payroll information. We're going to have this thing called salary expense. Okay. That is going to be a new account that we will debit. Expenses, normal balance, salary expense will be a normal balance. That's a debit. All right. And then what we'll do is we will have these 3 payables, these taxes, that we just will add up the taxes, and then the salary expense is the debit. Okay, the total gross earnings for all employees earning hourly wages, blah, 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 is going to be called the salary expense. Okay. This payroll information, our taxes, is not necessarily, we're not gonna do a journal entry for the taxes of each individual employee. Okay, we're not doing it for each individual. We're going to summarize deductions for all the employees into this one entry. Where you get this information is from the payroll register and the earnings records that you guys were working on and doing last week or last chapter. Okay, so where do you get the information to pay payroll? You get it from the payroll register, employee earnings records. Do you do one for each individual? Not necessarily. We're gonna combine them and pay the government, pay our taxes all at once from that pay period. Okay. A lot of times it's the 15th and the 15th of the month and the last day of the month for our example. Journal entries will need to be made to record the payroll of employer payroll taxes. Sometimes we'll have these quarterly taxes or reports that we'll have to pay out, and we'll kind of slowly but surely learn about these. We don't need to worry about the age discrimination. All right. Was that all that was on that page? Sorry, I want to make sure I'm not skipping anything. Yeah. Okay, analyzing payroll. So this should look familiar. This is your payroll register with all the employees, their marital status, their pay over here, their deductions over here. You get a total deductions, subtract that from the total earnings, you get net pay. Okay, and you guys wrote the checks and so you're familiar with that. The column totals of this payroll register are what we will get for debit and credit amounts when we want to journalize the payroll. Okay, so you can kind of already sort of think about this reinforcement, right? At the end of the reinforcement, you will have to do a payroll register, and then you'll have to do all this check. You know what I mean? So, but this is going to be done for you. We're going to use the column totals of some of these to help us pay payroll. So you see we have employee income tax. Okay, well, there is not one heading here that says salary expense or says employee payroll. Do you agree? Okay, but you do see Social Security, Medicare tax, home insurance, and retirement benefits. Social Security, Medicare, health insurance, retirement plan, retirement benefits is what we're going to call it. And basically, so these, we just add the payable to it. And that these are liabilities. Remember, that's liabilities, and that we collect all these taxes before we pay the government. These are considered liabilities. So we just add payable to all these. But salary expense and employee income tax, there is no heading to those. Okay, instead, employee income tax is going to be this federal income tax number. So you see 494 here, 494 here. This is the marital status and allowance number that you find on your charts. They don't call the account federal income tax payable. Okay, because we have federal income tax payable on our worksheet adjustments already. Remember those? When we did our adjustments, we had that already. So what we do is we call federal income tax column the employee income tax payable. So then you could see 577, 117, 577, 117. So we just do Social Security tax payable, Medicare tax payable, health insurance payable, retirement benefits payable. Okay. And then all these added up equal our salary expense. You have the cash in there that we're paying, and then you have the salary expense. So what we do is, if you had one of these, or if you wanted to, the total earnings is considered salary expense. So these two, we don't have anything to do with regular and overtime. Why is that? Because those two combined equal our total, right? So we don't have to do anything with these because this is included in it. So this total is salary expense. Federal income tax is employee income tax payable. We just have payable to all these. And then you have the net pay, which is the cash. We don't do anything with total because we're listing all these individually, correct? So here, we're not doing the individual, we're doing the total. It's called salary expense. And over here, this total is not involved because we're doing all these individually. So that's what they mean. They say we take a lot of these column totals, not all, but a lot, and we journalize them. Okay. All these will be, when we pay these off, they're all credits, and salary expense is the debit. Total earnings is the debit amount for salary expense. Net pay is the credit amount for cash. Those are just kind of quick reminders. What I'm highlighting here is just what salary expense is and what employee income tax payable is, what we just kind of talked about. All right, the sum of the total earnings column is actually the salary expense. The sum of the total earnings column is the salary expense. So like when we used to have textbooks, I would tell them write salary expense above this column, and then they had it. You guys don't have that advantage. It's great to have digital, but it's, but just so you remember. So that's what we're talking about here. The total of each deductions columns, except for the total column, is credited to a liability account, but we don't want to do this with the federal government. Therefore, employee income tax payable is recorded for that one. And so that's basically just telling you what we talked about. Okay. Telling you which columns are which. Net pay column is the cash credit. And hopefully you will remember that, because that's the number that we paid from the general account to our payroll account last chapter. We would pay that. Okay. So you'll be asked to do a journal entry that has the one debit and these credits. The payables over here, and then the cash credit. Okay. Pay cash for the semi-monthly payroll. We are paying the payroll. Okay. The cash number is $6,269.87. That's net pay. Total payroll is this number, which is what? Salary expense. And then the deductions, employee income tax, they got it here. Social Security tax, Medicare, health insurance, retirement benefits, you're writing the check. So this will be in the cash payments journal. The total earnings is the salary expense debit, and then all the rest are the payables and cash. We're paying our monthly payroll. Amounts recorded in the general columns of the cash payments are posted individually. So again, they start talking about posting a little bit, just as reminders. We will always post all of these. We will not post cash individually. We will post cash at the end. This is just quick reminders. We're not posting today. They just give you that information. The same procedures are followed to post the journal entry to appropriate amounts as we did in chapter 9, which was a while ago, but you guys kind of remember. Okay. That entry going to be all right? Nothing. You just got to remember salary expenses, total earnings, federal income taxes, employee income tax payable. And then you don't do the total. They have the steps down here if you wanted to go through them. We didn't go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you kind of get the idea. That's all section 13.1 is. All right, give me a minute so I can